Today our reading story is called Chester's Way, written and illustrated by Kevin Hinkes, the same person who wrote Sheila Ray the Brave. As you can tell by the illustrations, this is another mouse. This one is a boy, Chester, and I would like you to pay close attention to the characters and the events of this story because tomorrow you will need to do a retell of a Somebody Wanted But So Then. But today you're just going to write a little bit and tell me about Chester and you're his very, very best friend. So let's find out more about Chester, okay? Here's the picture of him, and he is playing croquet. Have any of you played croquet before? It's a fun outdoor game. All right. It says, "Hello, my name is Chester. I like croquet and peanut butter and making my bed." Chester had his own way of doing things. He always cut his sandwiches diagonally. He always got out of bed on the same side. And he never left the house without double knotting his shoes. Chester always had the same thing for breakfast, toast and jam and peanut butter. And he always carried a miniature first aid kit in his back pocket, just in case. "You definitely have a mind of your own," said Chester's mother. "That's one way to put it," said Chester's father. So he liked to do everything the same way every single day. He didn't change a lot, did he? Chester's best friend Wilson was exactly the same way. That's why they were best friends. Chester wouldn't play baseball unless Wilson played, and they never swung at the first pitch or slid head first. Wilson wouldn't ride his bike unless Chester wanted to, and they always used hand signals. If Chester was hungry, Wilson was too, but they rarely ate between meals. "Some days I can't tell the two apart," said Wilson's mother. "Me either," said Wilson's father. Chester and Wilson, Wilson and Chester. That's the way it was. Wilson and Chester were best friends, and they loved to do everything together. They loved to go on picnics. Once, when Wilson accidentally swallowed a watermelon seed and cried because he was afraid that a watermelon plant would grow inside him, Chester swallowed one too. "Don't worry," said Chester. "Now if you grow a watermelon plant, I'll grow one too." Chester duplicated his Christmas list every year and gave a copy to Wilson because they always wanted the same things anyway. And for Halloween, they always dressed as things that went together. Salt and pepper shakers, 2 mittens, on a string, ham and eggs. They really were 2 peas in a pod, said Chester's mother. "Looks like it," said Chester's father. And this Halloween they dressed up as 2 peas in a pod. That is funny. In spring, Chester and Wilson shared the same umbrella. In the winter, they never threw snowballs at each other. In the fall, they raked leaves together. And in the summer, they reminded each other to wear sunscreen so they wouldn't burn. Chester and Wilson were best of friends. They did everything together. Have we met a change agent yet? Nope. Chester and Wilson, Wilson and Chester, that's the way it was. And then Lily moved into the neighborhood. Lily had her own way of doing things. "I'm Lily, I am the queen, I like everything." And we all say, "Dun, dun, dun, dun." She wore Band-Aids all over her arms and legs to look brave. She talked backwards to herself sometimes so no one would know what she was saying. And she never left the house without one of her nifty disguises. Lily waved all the cars that passed by, even if she didn't know who was in them. And she always carried a loaded squirt gun in her back pocket, just in case. "She definitely has a mind of her own," said Chester. "That's one way to put it," said Wilson. When Lily asked Chester and Wilson to play, they said they were busy. When she called them up on the phone, they disguised their voices and said they weren't home. And if Lily was walking on one side of the street, Chester and Wilson crossed to the other and hid. "She's something else," said Chester. "Looks like it," said Wilson. One day, when Chester and Wilson were practicing their hand signals, some older boys rode by, popping wheelies. They circled Chester and Wilson and yelled personal remarks. Chester and Wilson didn't know what to do, and just then they were about to give up hope when a fierce-looking cat with horrible fangs jumped out of the bushes and frightened the older boys away. Do you know who it was? I bet you do. Are you who we think you are? Chester asked the cat. Of course, the cat replied. Thank you, Lily, said Chester. You're welcome, Chester, said Lily. Oh, thank you, Lily, said Wilson. You're welcome, Wilson, said Lily. I'm glad you were wearing a disguise, said Chester. And I'm glad you had your squirt gun, said Wilson. I always do, said Lily, just in case. Afterward, Chester invited Lily over for lunch. You have a muscle mouse cup, said Lily. Well, of course, said Chester. I do too, said Lily. Same here, said Wilson. Chester and Wilson cut their sandwiches diagonally. Lily asked Chester's mother if she had cookie cutters, and she made stars and bells and flowers. That's neat, said Chester. Wow, said Wilson. That night, Willie invited Chester and Wilson to a sleepover. You have a nightlight, said Chester. Of course, said Lily. I do too, said Chester. Same here, said Wilson. And what are they noticing about each other? That's right, that they have a lot of things in common. Chester and Wilson wanted toast with jam and peanut butter for breakfast the next morning because, remember, they did everything the exact same. Boring, said Lily. Try this instead. This is good, said Chester. Wow, said Wilson. After that, when Lily asked Chester and Wilson to play, they said yes. When she called them up on the phone, they had pleasant conversations. And if Lily was walking on one side of the street, Chester and Wilson waved and ran to catch up with her. Chester and Wilson taught Lily hand signals, and she taught them how to pop wheelies. Lily taught Chester and Wilson how to talk backwards, and they taught her how to double knot her shoes. Some days I can't tell those three apart, said Lily's mom. Me either, said Lily's father. Chester and Wilson and Lily, Lily and Wilson and Chester, that's the way it was. For Halloween, they were the three blind mice. For Christmas, Lily gave Chester and Wilson nifty disguises, and they gave her a box of multicolored shoelaces, extra long for double knotting. They loved to go on picnics. When Chester and Wilson told Lily about how each swallowed a watermelon seed once, Lily swallowed 3 of them. I'll grow a watermelon plant for each of us, she said. In the spring, Chester and Wilson and Lily shared the same umbrella. In the winter, they threw snowballs at each other. And in the fall, they raked leaves together. And in summer, they reminded each other to wear sunscreen so they wouldn't sunburn. Chester and Wilson and Lily, Lily and Wilson and Chester. That's the way it was. And then Victor moved into the neighborhood. And so, boys and girls, in Chester's way, what did you learn? Today, what you're going to do is take out your Chester's way, and you're going to tell me the very, very most important thing about Chester and Wilson. What did they love to do? Chester and Wilson were the best of friends. What did they do? They did everything together, and you might give me an example. That was until who came to town? Until Lily came to town. So this is what I might write. Chester and Wilson were the best of friends. They did everything together until Lily came to town. At first, they didn't like Lily, but once they realized she had great ideas, she became their best friend too. So you write as much as you can remember about the story, but make sure you get the main idea, which was Chester and Wilson did everything together because they were best of friends, and then mention Lily. When you're all done, you're going to do a direct drawing right here of Chester. And I'm going to show you that on another video. So get your writing done first, and then you can do your direct drawing. Okay, have fun.